Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Frozen Fortunes, the analysis days. So, it is, as you know from watching yesterday's video, so hot in here I'm starting to melt. So this might be a slightly truncated version of this video. I imagine it will still be fairly long though, because you know what I'm like once I get talking. So we're going to try and get into this. Obviously got to look through the team stats first, because it's quite an important part. I want to see where we're kind of improving, and well, one of the areas we're obviously improving is our possession stat. Now, it does vary quite greatly often in games, whether sometimes we'll have like up to 60-65% possession, particularly against teams with 4-4-2s and whatnot. But often the 4-2-3-1 sort of systems, teams tend to be, the possession tends to be more even, sometimes even lean towards the other teams, and then sometimes teams just dominate us for possession. But I still think fourth in the league for possession is fine. FC Copenhagen are definitely going to be, well, we've got to try and bring that one down. Penalties taken was the most with 9. We only scored 6 of them this year, whereas I think in previous years, Bravo would have probably put more of them away. It's a bit frustrating, but we're winning a lot of penalties too, which is nice. It's given us a few little extra goals here. Headers won, sort of mid-table actually. I don't know where we have been in previous years, but I feel like it was probably higher up. But the headers won ratio, that's better. Right out where we need to be. We're winning a lot of headers, and I think having our 6'4" wingback certainly seems to help with that. 65%, unlike teams like Vela, who can't seem to win anything in the 8 yellow cards. I'd like to think we're not too high. That's better. 43 yellow cards this year. Gone are the days of us dominating the disciplinary stats with yellows and reds for days, like we did earlier in this save when we were a bit more aggressive. But, you know, generally the better sides tend to be lower down this, although Lyngby clearly were a dirty bunch, as evidenced by them getting 67 yellow cards over the course of the season. And also 6 red cards. We had the least reds, along with most of the other good sides in the league, although Randa's managed to sneak in there as well. No reds and only 43 yellows is a very, very solid season for us disciplinary-wise. And I think a lot of those yellows came from our wingbacks, to be honest. Form is irrelevant. This one I never really find useful. Why would you need to know this stuff? Because it doesn't tell you like streaks over the season, just like current streaks. Rounders have scored in 10 games in a row. That's actually quite impressive for them. Anyway, goals. 86 goals scored in the league this year, which is 20 more, nearly 19 more than FC Copenhagen, and 26 more. I mean, look at that. Sunny has only scored 29 goals in the league, and we've got 86 goals. That's going to be tough to break for now. I do think later down the line, we'll obviously probably having seasons where we're scoring over 100. I feel like that's likely, but not just yet. And I don't think just because we've won the Superliga this year, that's suddenly going to be the start of some domination in Denmark. I think it might be, but I honestly think that next year is probably going to be harder to win the title than it was this year, and I wouldn't be surprised if we don't win it next year. So I want to make sure the board keep their expectations in check, because we've had some fortune in periods this year. FC Copenhagen have been quite slack. We've won the title with only 79 points. That's 11 less than it took last year, and in all honesty, we could have won it with 73 points, which was 17 less. So yeah, there's definitely something changing there. Cross completion, 15% is not bad. Copenhagen's is a little bit higher, but we're still up around the top 4, which is kind of where I want us to be. It's not improved greatly. Crosses completed, we should be number 2 for this one usually. Yeah, number 2. Comfortably number 2, but again, comfortably behind FC Copenhagen. I feel like if they'd got their act together a little bit more, they could have easily won the league from us this year, because we dropped too many points from weird situations, but then so did they, I suppose. So that's what we could say. Goals from corners, how many did we get? We got 7, which is not bad, to be perfectly honest. More than them, but only by 1, so we're still sort of around the good port. Lyngby were clearly a dirty bunch that scored a load of goals from set pieces. That's clearly what they did this year. Goals from direct free kicks, well, I mean, there wasn't a lot in the entire league, and we sure as hell didn't get one. I think the last time we scored one from a free kick, a direct free kick, was Sergio Santos' one. Can't remember what game. That might have been the previous season. I don't know. Goals from indirect free kicks. Sunnia's got a few of those, and we only got 1. Perhaps an area where you need to look at a little bit more, as FC Copenhagen got 6 of those, and we only got 1. Wow, that means free kicks into the box. Just the 1. Pass completion, we should be fairly high. There you go. 77% pass completion is not bad. It's a lot lower than FC Copenhagen, but I think over the years we are going to slowly be able to build up to where we're starting to dominate teams a little bit more, and we should when we get some really good passes in that midfield. Because remember, our team is still so young. And the great thing about that is every year we get to the summer, and our players just seem to keep getting better. It's like having new signings every summer. The team is just growing within itself. Some players might fall by the wayside, and we bring in new ones. That's the beautiful thing about growing a young team, is a lot of the time you don't need to make signings because the players are getting better and better. And I can only see them improving because still, most of them are still under the age of 23 in our squad. I don't think we've got any, apart from like your Ursans and Johnny Ia. And I think they're only like 24. So yeah, there's a lot to be said for that. Passes completed, that's a good thing as well. We've completed more passes than Bromby in terms of a ratio, but they've actually made more passes overall. So I'm all right with that. Chances created, best in the league by far. 201 chances created. If we could just sort of turn that into a few more goals, we'd be even more dominant. We created more than 50 more chances than FC Copenhagen over the season. They're pretty clinical, but I feel like this is a team that should be dominating. If we could just get Svenningsson and Bravo to be that little bit better, and next year you feel like, well, they probably will be because they're going to improve. They might start putting some more of these away. Shots on target, though, 44%, best in the league for shots on target. And I want to see who's responsible for that, because obviously Bravo and Svenningsson generally do quite well, but sometimes we have strikers that don't quite always pull their weight. Shots on target overall, they actually have more shots on target than us. But I guess they had a lot more from range. We were generally better and more clinical with our chances. Fouls against. We do not seem to concede many fouls, despite winning a lot of penalties, which is an interesting one. Dribbles per game, I think this is being held up by people like Jonas Svenningsson. He's the reason that we're on as high up this list as we are, to be honest. His dribbling ability is sensational, but when you see how well teams like Copenhagen and Midtjylland are doing on the dribbling department, clearly we need some of those players. But then the thing is that that's mostly coming from wingers. Svenny is a striker, so he does get those chances. Defending. Second best defense in the league. They had 33 goals conceded this year in 36 games. We conceded less than a goal a game, though, and that is astonishing. Because I'm pretty certain last year we conceded something like 50-odd goals. So we've really cut down on that and scored even more. And that's all I can really aim to do every single year. I do want more clean sheets next year. I want to get that into the 20s, really, for conceded, and I want to get the best defensive record. Conceded from corners. Still had 5 goals conceded from corners, though, which is a shame, although I'm interested to see how many we got conceded from free kicks overall. Direct free kicks. Did we concede it? We did actually concede one from a direct free kick, so that's 6 dead ball situations we've conceded from, and then 2 there as well, bringing it up to 8. 8 isn't bad, but when you look at FC Copenhagen, 3 from corners, none there, and then none there. So only 3 goals from set pieces. If we'd not had those 3 goals from, 5 more from set pieces, we'd have the best defense in the league. So we really do need to keep working on that. Clean sheets, though, we both tied at 14 apiece, and that is much more like it. I think in our first year in the top flight, we only had 1, and last year it was certainly not that great either, but 14 is fantastic. Fouls made, probably still quite high. No, mid-table, that's better. It's better. Vela apparently can't get near anyone to foul them, so that's interesting. Tackles 1, sort of mid-table is fine. Tackles 1 ratio, mid-table is fine. Although I would want to improve that a little bit. That being said, FC Copenhagen, fairly low on that one as well. Penalties conceded, we conceded 4. And again, FC Copenhagen doing well in those areas too. From dead ball situations, they're not giving opponents chances to take those opportunities, which is great. I suppose you could argue that's 12 if you include the penalties of our goals conceded have come from dead ball situations. So, try to avoid that if we can, eh? Average attendance, still the lowest in the league, but hey, that's better. 2,800 nearly is our average attendance. And next year, I'd like to see some home games getting sort of 4s and 5,000s. I know it's a lot for Greenland. That's literally a tenth of the population. But, you know, they're going to get to... They've just watched a team from Greenland win the league in Denmark, and they're going to be playing Champions League football next year. How much Champions League football, I don't know. But I think we get a chance to go straight into the playoffs. I don't really know. Hopefully we get in a situation where if we don't get into the Champions League, we'll drop straight into the Europa League group stages, which will still give us a chance to win a load of games. That's kind of the key thing. If us and FC Copenhagen have some really good Europa League group stage games, we could get ourselves into the top 10 for Denmark, for Europe, and that would really do well, because that would give us a guaranteed Champions League group stage spot, which is what I really want for this nation. Attendance by capacity, ours is obviously the lowest, and it will be for quite some time. No stadium sellouts by even the closest amount. We had, nearly 4,000 in the game. I think it was a game against Randers, which was the last one before the championship group. I don't know why. I would have thought that the last game against Lyngby would have had more people. Let's just quickly check that. How many people did we get for that game? Oh, nearly the same, to be fair. We were only a few short. So there's that. Lowest attendance. Weirdly, we did not have the lowest attendance. That was Lyngby. Probably tired of seeing the dirty, dirty football. Finances, net transfer spend. Obviously, ours is pretty damn low. As is FC Copenhagen. That's because they sell so many damn players. Salaries per annum. We still have the 10th lowest salary. The 10th highest salary in the league, which is crazy. We spend £2.6 million a year on finances. It's saying, oh no, we're not insecure. Whereas they spend 21 million. So not quite 10 times, but sort of 8 to 9 times our amount. And we've beaten them in the league this year, which is astonishing. And finished above a lot of teams that are still spending a lot more money than us. Over the course of the summer, I've no doubt that will head towards 3 million, but it's still going to take us a long, long time before we're spending the kind of money on wages that they are. And when we are at that point, I want us to be doing a lot better with it than they are. So let's take a look at the player stats, because I'm really interested in this one. I'll just take a sip of my drink while we're here. So appearances in games won. We were always going to have a lot of players up there because we have such a consistent starting lineup. Yellow cards. I assume our wingbacks will probably be the ones that are dominating this if we have any players on this at all. The game appears to have now frozen for whatever reason. There we go. Yeah, Rogers Jr. got 8. Safety got 6 when he didn't play that much either. That's a worry for me about him. He only played 17 games compared to 33, and he got nearly as many yellow cards. Also, Moscoots are not on there, so I guess that's a good sign. Red cards, we didn't have any of those, so that's irrelevant. Man of the Match awards, oh my god, why is it taking so long? There we go. Mariano Bravo, 9 of them. A guy called Pat Moore, which is a great name. He looks like a bloody good... Oh, he's a winger. That's a pretty pointless for us then. Oh, he came through FFA. Svenningson with 7, and also Akinola got 4, so it's nice to see him on there as well. Distance covered. This one... Yep, Shishi getting about in the midfield. Rogers Jr. in there, but no Moscoots. Interesting. That could be because he's missed more games. Per 90 minutes is a better sort of barometer of quality in that sense. Moscoots, Chowie as well, Shishi, Akinola, Rogers Jr. Lots of players getting about the pitch, which is what I like to see. Average rating. Svenningson, by far the best average rating in the league and surely will win Player of the Year. Bravo in 2nd. Shishi in 5th on that one too. And down in 18th is Sani Akinola. So finally, an attacking midfielder for us has actually performed well this season. And Akinola's still only 22. You know, he's got 4 Man of the Match awards as well. Finally, to have a player in that position actually performing well. The only position we've really got to sort out is the position that Zayem's playing, and I feel like he might be the man to make that position his own and actually get good ratings, like above a 7 over a season for that position would be very, very ideal. Headers 1. Wow. Christian Laver's the only player on it. I guess we've had to do less defending this year? Goals scored. This is an interesting one. Bravo and Svenningson, of course, at the top. Nobody else anywhere near that. Budimir and Wind did well. Onuachu. It's interesting to see players from Randers and Kyrgyz as the second 2 teams in this at all, whereas Brian Ling only got 17, and they definitely didn't score as many as they would have liked. For Mariano Bravo to get 26 in 33 is astonishing. Svenningson to get 25 in 30. That is bloody excellent. He's basically, I think, scored more than a goal a game since he actually started scoring goals. I think for his sort of first 8 games of the season, he was pretty dry. But he's been phenomenal, sort of goal a game record since then. He does that next year. I can see him scoring 30 in the league comfortably. Minutes per goal. There you go, Johnny Iya. That's amazing, actually. 9 goals in the league, despite only starting 2 games, which means that I think he's got like 8. I think he only got 1 goal from a start, which was that game against Copenhagen right at the start of the year when we got that 1-1 draw, which means I think he's actually got 8 goals coming off the bench in the league this year. What a super sub he has been. And to me, people say, you should have someone better in that position. This, to me, proves that I was right about signing Johnny Iya, that he's got basically a goal every 90 minutes that he's played for us, most of which have been substitute appearances, which is so hard for players to actually score that. He's only had 19 shots, and he's scored 9 goals. He scores with every other shot that he has when he comes off the bench in those situations. And to me, that makes him worth a fortune to us for those goals that he's actually got us this year. Really, the perfect super sub, and a guy that's happy to play that role as well. So, shots as well. Bravo and Svenningson, nicely to see them high on that one. Shishi, that's mostly from his long ranges. Next year, this will be far lower, down towards the 50s, I hope. Anyway, shots on target. Svenningson, 71 shots on target. So I'm guessing his shots on target ratio is going to be the reason we've done so well on that particular stat. Shots on target, here we go. 59% of Jonas Svenningson's shots have been on target, whereas Bravo's down to 50. And that, to me, is why Svenningson has been so good towards the end of the season. And Bravo had his little patches, but he's still been fantastic. We can't really complain about that. Bravo has been on the pitch for 85 of the 86 goals. Svenningson only 77, so that certainly says something to me. Rogers Jr. in there, Chowie, Rivera doing well as well. Loads of players on the pitch for lots of goals, but Bravo particularly doing well. He scored 5 of the 6 penalties that he's taken this year. I can't be too harsh on him for that. Svenningson scored 1. I think Safey also scored 1. I don't know why, but he did. Assists. Jonas Svenningson didn't get the record for most assists, but I think next year he'll be coming for it. 20 assists in the league. Bravo got 13. Akinola got 9. And you can't really argue with that. That is superb. Key passes. Sani Akinola, 67 key passes. Juan Shishi, 64 key passes. Svenningson a little bit lower, but who really cares? He's been superb. Akinola and Shishi getting those key passes really does. That impresses me a lot. They're getting good passes. Akinola, look at that. 9 assists, 67 key passes, 85% pass completion, 28% cross completion. He has been phenomenal this year, truly. Worth the money by a much. We paid like, what, 800,000 for him? Maybe even less than that. I think he's been thoroughly worth it to be a standout player in that role. Chances created, Bravo, 40. Svenningson, 34. Akinola in there at 12. Yeah, the usual suspects essentially doing their jobs. Pass completion, Amoa, 85, and Kanate, of course, not doing too bad in that one as well. Akinola, 84% overall. It's just nice to have players on this particular one. Cross completion, here we go. Who have we got? Sani Akinola, 27, Shishi, 22, and yeah, I think the problem is, I don't know how many crosses you have to put in to be counted on this one, and I feel like it should really, it should be quite a high threshold, really, because these players, I mean, for all we know, he only put in like, I don't know, 50 crosses this season, whereas you've got some players that put in hundreds, you know? Dribbles per game. Svenningsson up there, and this has been improving for him year upon year. I was looking at this a little while ago, just sort of looking at how he's improved as a player as the years have gone by. So his first season for us, he didn't play any games, so that's irrelevant. In the league this year, dribbles per game, 2.29. The next year, it goes up to 3.18, and this year, 4.43, which suggests to me that next year he could be climbing into the sort of the top threes in this league for dribbles per game, because he's only going to get better. Simon Poulsen is head and shoulders above the rest, even though he often plays in the middle, I find. Oh, no, he doesn't. Well, actually, I've seen him play in the middle against us before. I don't know why, but he has. And he's got that 17 dribbling, so it's not hard to understand why. But I think Svenningsson could definitely top the charts of this one day. Not yet, but one day. What else we got? Offsides, really not that important. To team conceded, Johnny E has only been on the pitch for 23 goals. That's impressive, actually. Tackles per game. That's interesting. Chowie, 6.53 tackles per game. That's very, very surprising that he's so high up on that one. It does make me wonder if he might be the starting right back next year. Let me know genuinely. I'm honestly curious about this. Do you think that next summer, or this summer rather, we should maybe move on Fabian Mascutza if we get decent money for him? Because I think Keradine Chowie is chomping at the bit to play in that role. And I think overall he could be a better player for the long term for us in that role. And Mascutza, I think we could still get maybe £1.52 million for him. And that would do us great worries. And then we could maybe reinvest in a younger model, if you like, and cash in now. Because I think he might be sort of, like, he's still got the potential there. But you can start to see where it's sort of peaking at the moment. So I don't know. I feel like maybe getting Chowie to play there on a more regular basis. I mean, he's already probably a better player. He just doesn't have the height. That's the only real difference for him between the two of them, I think. I think Mascutza might be slightly better at crossing, but not noticeably. So yeah, maybe give me your thoughts on that one. Rogers Jr. in there as well, as you would kind of expect. They're sort of the key men in a lot of the way that we play. Mistakes leading to goals. Oh, and no players on the list. That's what I like to see. We'll have some players on this one, though, that's for sure. Mascutza and Rogers Jr. But Mascutza only made one mistake leading to a goal, despite all of these mistakes, and I'm fine with that. Key tackles. Nobody at all. I guess we've been less defensive, so it's kind of made sense. Key headers, Lever, 46. Svenningsson, 41 key headers. That's interesting. He's only 5'11", and his heading is only 11 itself. Jumping reach isn't amazing. It's strange to see him doing so well in the air. I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm very, very happy with it. Interceptions made. I'd like to think that, yeah, I think had we had a player occupying that role for the full season, we'd probably win that. Headers 1 ratio, Rogers Jr., 90%, 89, Lever, 86. Worried that the others aren't on there, though. That's a bit of a concern. I'm going to sneeze now. Excuse me. Oh, dear. Right. Rivera is on the shots blocked, so that's kind of good to know, considering no one else is on there. He's obviously willing to throw himself in front of situations. Goalkeepers conceded. Obviously none on there because our goalkeeper, we have 2 different goalkeepers for the season. Clean sheets, though, we should have someone here, perhaps. Amoa got 8 clean sheets. He got a clean sheet in every other game. So, I mean, actually, looking at that, Konate got 6 clean sheets in 20 games. Amoa got 8 clean sheets in 16 games. So, he concedes less per 90 minutes as well. So, I think we have made a good decision in bringing Emmanuel Amoa in because he's just clearly been better. More clean sheets in less time, and he concedes less goals per game. We'll have a look at that properly when we get into things, though. Saves held. Konate has one more, but again, I like to think of it as a per 90 minutes kind of situation. So, let's go over to the squad and see what we're doing here. This will take a while for some reason because FM just does this sometimes, so we'll have to get all the stats and whatnot set up. So squad view, we don't want that. We want it on wing back analysis. No, I always start with goalkeepers. Let's start with goalkeepers. Get all the filters set up for that. Senior squad, we'll leave those on for now so I can just see who we need to actually include in this. Central goalkeepers. I don't want any of those left-sided goalkeepers. Hell no. Right. Goalkeepers. Some of them are played out on loan, so we've got to be careful that we exclude high players who are on loan. There we go. Oh, wait. Damn it. Not a club? That's better. Because obviously, Konate is on. Right, so here we go. Minutes. He's played more minutes, so that's fine. Total goals, team goals per 90 minutes. So we score more goals with him in the team, but we concede more as well. So, you know, it's one of those things. Saves tipped, about the same. Parried, held. Points per game. We actually win more points per game with Konate in the team, though. Although, I think that mainly comes down to that weird spell we had towards the end of the season. Now, obviously, some of that could be Amoa's fault, and the goal that we conceded against FC Copenhagen in the last episode was probably down to him and some of the weird goalkeeping he did. But I don't know. Games won ratio, Konate, we won more games with him in the team as well, but we have conceded less, and we got more clean sheets, so I'm still, I'm on board with that. The personality of unambitious is a slight issue for me, perhaps. But there's not really much we can do about that. It means he might be quite happy to stay here. Remember, we picked this guy up on a free transfer, and he's worth £825,000 already. He's not on super moon money or anything, so it stands to reason that we could still sell this guy on in the future and make an absolute fortune off of him. I wouldn't settle for less than about 5 million for the guy at the moment, and that's off a player that we got for free. So still damn happy with that. I think for goalkeepers, with the likes of Anton Skurt, Mamadou Niang also in there, they've got a long way to go before being in this team. But there's definitely potential for them to ride the bench next season, alternate around, maybe get one of them out on loan to get some extra football. I feel like Scott is the one I'd probably put out on loan because he's younger, and get Niang in there to be our backup goalkeeper next year and get him some game time if there's some injuries, rotate around a little bit, just introduce him to the team, slowly bring him into things because he's not bad. His handling's decent, he's got good kicking, his eccentricity, he's a very uneccentric player, that's fine. His command of area is a little bit lower than the sort of the big boys, if you like, but his reflexes are decent. His punching and rushing are actually fairly solid as well. Not so great in the air, perhaps, but he's not decidedly worse than any of those guys just yet. And he's got that potential to go even further. So I think he is our probably long-term first-choice goalkeeper, but Amoa for now will be holding that role for the near future until such time as he gets good enough that we get some massive bids, and then we can just move on to Mamadou Niang. That's the way I'm thinking about it. Right, let's move on to some wing-backos. Where are we going? Oh, God, this mouse is so oversensitive sometimes. Right, wing-back analysis. This one is going to be an interesting one for me, actually. So defensive midfielders, left-sided, right-sided. And of course, Chowie's not listed on there because that's annoying. I'm not really sure how we can... Defenders, perhaps? Yeah, that brings Chowie in as well. It does unfortunately bring Lever in there too, but we'll have to make do. Right, so this is kind of an interesting one for me. So points per minute. We've actually won a lot of points with Chowie in the team and less with Moscootza, which is the first evidence to me that Chowie should be playing on that right wing-back role instead of Moscootza. But we will go on and see how it goes. Team conceded. We concede more goals with him in the team, though, and less with Moscootza. So there's that element. But we are winning more points overall. So I guess there is also that. Tackles won. He's winning more tackles than both of them, actually, but particularly 10% more tackles won than Fabian Moscootza. But again, he has played a lot of his games this year in the midfield too, so we've got to be careful with that as well. Pass completion is obviously higher, but again, midfield, so it's hard to say. Key passes per 90 minutes, again, more, but midfield. So he still has these abilities, though, so that kind of is quite important to me. He does make less interceptions per 90 minutes, but again, playing in midfield. Headers won is always going to be drastically lower, and I do worry that could cost us at times. When you've got Rogers Jr. and Moscootza winning 90% of their headers, and then Chowie's winning 60 or like 58%, that could be concerning. We've won a lot of games with him in the team, though. Dribbles, he gets a bit more dribbly. His cross completion is better than both of them at 17%. Like, that is noticeably an improvement. As a wing-back, you can pass. Yeah, the heading is the one downside of the game. You can tackle well, you can pass well, you can cross well. Just a little bit lacking in the air is his only real weak point that I'm seeing at the moment. Chances created, roughly the same as them. Chances created per 90 minutes is definitely more. Assists is lower, but he's playing in a different position often. His average rating, again, is lower, but a lot of substitute appearances. No mistakes into goals, less mistakes overall, but again, I think he'd made more if he'd played in those positions. Driven personality, so his tackling is the best. His passing is the best. He's the best marker of the three of them as well. His dribbling is better. His crossing is a little bit on the low side compared to those two, but it hasn't affected his cross completion, that's for sure. He's got equal or better stamina. He's faster by an absolute mile. His work rate is better. Teamwork is better. Positioning is around the same. Off the ball is better than Moscootza, that's for sure. He's more determined, better decision-making. His concentration is a tiny little bit lower. I think Keradine Chowie is going to be our starting right wing-back next season, whether Moscootza is here or not. I think he kind of has to have a little run at that role. We are retraining him there so he can learn to play that role, but I just kind of think that's something we need to look at, really. Moscootza is worth £1.1 million. He's got a contract through till December of next year. He's on a lot of money. is it about time that we move Fabian Moscusa on just for the good of his career, but also to wheel and deal at the right moments to make sure that he is wanted by teams? Don't know how much they'll be willing to pay. He's wanted by Ken and Rochenburg. So maybe one of those teams comes in the summer, puts in a sort of 1.5 mil, £2 million bid. I'd be up for accepting that as long as we got the right add-ons, to be honest, because I just think that maybe he's taken us as far as he can go. I don't know. Maybe you have a different opinion. Let me know in the comments to the video. Now, that's my sort of opinion on that right now. I don't really see any other players ready to step in. Martin Jakobsen and Fiorito have played, of course, this year. Fiorito's spent a lot of time out on loan, though. And we've obviously got a lot of players from the sort of youth academy. Matthias Olsson is one for the future, no doubt. But he still does seem to, you know, exhibit a lot of good areas. I wish you could reorganize this page just to compare players, like compare 3 or 4 of them. But you only let you compare 2, I don't think, which is a bit of a pain. But there you go. Can you just like hide? No, you can't. That would be nice though if you could just compare players like this. I don't think there's a way to filter it like that, is there? No, I don't think so. But I still think that Matthias Olsson is a player for the future. Fairly professional personality. He's still only 15 years old. There's a lot of potential in this lad, and I'm fully prepared to see him make that role his own later down the line. He's already the 4th best wingback we have at the club, or rather, I don't know actually. Let's just quickly take a look at the coach report, put it on the wingback right. Yeah, 3rd best behind Keradin Chawi and Moscusa, and he's still only 15 years old. It's going to take a little while before this guy's even allowed to play for us. When is his birthday? His birthday is in June, so actually no, he'll be able to play for us from the start of next year. So I'm thinking perhaps a loan spell for him. I don't know. We'll have to sort of see on that one. He's not the tallest, but then he's still taller than Keradin Chawi. There's that option. So let's take a little look at the centre-backs, because I think we've kind of covered enough ground there. Centre-back analysis. Right, get rid of these, 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 get rid of these. Lovely old job. Right, so Safi, Curtin, Lever, Rivera, and Rocco. Those are the centre-backs that have played this year. They've all played over 1,000 minutes, which means this is going to be very, very interesting. Now, of course, some of them have played in slightly different roles within the team, but we should still be able to see, as a sort of general rule, who is performing well and who isn't, based on who's overperforming in these situations. So, team conceded per 90 minutes. Safi with the most. Not in any way surprising. He is probably the least preferable player that I want to put in there. He's just a little bit too rash, but hey, maybe he'll excel in other areas. Rocco with only 0.62, Curtin and Rivera, but Rivera and Lever are kind of interchangeable. Rocco is the man, though. 20 years old, and I mean, he just seems to have that level that he's been at this year has been excellent. Tackles per 90 minutes. Rocco's right up there as well. Curtin fairly low. Safi sort of around the middle. But tackles-1 ratio, Safi does win a lot of tackles. Pat Curtin doesn't. He really does seem to struggle in that area. But Curtin is often deployed in that middle area. So I want to see what his interceptions are like. That's going to be quite important for this going forward. Points per game. Rocco wins the most. Safi with the least. No surprises there. Passing. Rivera doing well, Rocco doing well, Pat Curtin again a little bit on the low side. Safi still right in there. Mistakes. No mistakes leading to goals from any of our centre-backs. Nice to see. The players with the most mistakes are the players that have played the most. Mistakes per 90 minutes would be a nice metric to be able to use, but I don't think that one actually exists. Key tackles. Lever and Rivera, nice towards the top. Rocco, a little bit on the low side for key tackles when you consider that Safi's actually played around about, he's played 2/3 more, but he's made more than twice that amount of key tackles. And the same with key headers. Rocco, it's weird. Like, he does well, and we do well with him in the team, but it's almost like he makes his other players around him play well, rather than him specifically playing well. Like, he's a decent player, but key tackles and key headers are a little bit on the low side, but I guess that means that perhaps he's not having to make those situations because he's not getting him into those problems in the first place. I don't know. Maybe I'm giving too much credit there. Key passes per 90 minute. He's a good passer of the ball. That is undeniable. When you look at that, more than twice what of the others. What is his passing? It's only 8. Has he got good vision? It's 7. I don't know. It's weird that he's making so many key passes. I'm fine with that. Interceptions per 90 minutes. Pat Curtin has to be out in front, and he is. That's what I like to see. I feel like someone like Augustin would have been into the 6s and 7s, though. So there is that as a side sort of problem, potentially. Headers 1 percentage. Wow. Christian Lever. 87% of his headers have 1. He is the best defender that we've got by a country mile, and he's not even the youngest either. Sorry, not even the oldest. He is definitely the best defender overall, and that kind of just shows out in his general ability. Professional personality. Christian Lever is just a quality player. Headers 1 per 90 minutes as well, vastly more than anyone else. He doesn't have the best games, but look at that, 85% of the games that Massimiliano Rocco has played in, we've won. That says a lot to me. And that does make me think that perhaps our best bet next year is Rocco, Lever, and one other. Whether that be Rivera or Curtin, I don't know. But Rocco and Leiva definitely look like the two that have stood out as being important to this team. I'm still not sure what Rocco does, but we play well when he's in the team, and he's played enough minutes for me to not consider that to be just purely anecdotal. So I don't know. It's a strange one, that one. Personality-wise, they've all got good personalities. This is why I'm so pleased with this. Resolute, professional, and fairly professional. We've got so many resolute personalities in the team now, it's brilliant. And I think that's because specifically trying to sign players like that has caused them to rub off, because there was definitely some of these guys that were professional in the past and now count as resolute, and that is goddamn gorgeous. Having that in the team has really, really helped us, I believe. Anyway, looking at the values as well, I don't know if we can actually see the values properly. We'll just move this across a little bit. I want to just see. So, some of them aren't even worth that much, really. Aldo Safi, 125k because he's older. Rivera's only worth 31k. 325k there for Christian Leiva. And, I mean, I can understand why. He's a very, very good player. And he is, of course, wanted, usually by Premier League sides. FC Copenhagen. Whoa, San Etienne, Dijon, Setúbal, Getafe. Okay, no Premier League sides in there, which is interesting. He's wanted by quite a lot of teams. Asking price at the moment is £7.5 million. I might just up that to 10 right here while we're on this screen, because I mean, I don't think anyone's going to pay £10 million for Christian Leiva, but if they do, we might have to consider it, because £10 million is a lot of goddamn money. That's kind of where I'm setting those prices. For example, Svenningson's asking price is £60 million. If someone pays me £60 million, they can have him right now. At this point in the save. If, say, 10 years from now, if we're still somehow doing this save by then maybe I'd not consider it. But at this point, if they were willing to pay 60 million quid for him, then I might have to consider it, because just think what we could build with 60 million pounds. Anyway, looking at the centre backs, I think Rocco, Leiva, and one other is our starting back three for next year, probably between Curtin and Rivera. Safi really was only brought in due to the injuries, but it's still nice to have him around, because he is goddamn useful in places, particularly with his tackling. He just does seem to make a lot of mistakes and tends to get caught a lot in games. Right, I'm going to switch over and have another drink. One day I will get round to making an attacking midfield one, but for now we're just going to have to bear in mind the positions people played in these games. So all of these guys have played games for us this year, and that's fine by me. So, people I'm not really too bothered about. Hansen, not bothered about. He's not played enough games. Tavares has played enough games to really have a look at him, but not to be overly critical based on it. And Surgor, my God, I keep getting reports from my coach saying, this guy is getting better and better, and he's resolute. He's got great stats that are just improving, like no red stats whatsoever, and he's still only 17 years old. This guy could possibly be like world class as well, like Jonas Svenningsson potentially could be. But he's just younger, and finding him a place in the team is going to be difficult. But I do think there's room for him down the line to come in and play some games for us, whether it be on loan next year or just playing as a rotation option for us next year in the league. I don't know. I feel like there's a place for him in the team. It's just because he's more of a sort of central midfield. He doesn't really play a role that we really need. And I need to... What do you think about Peter Surgard? Do you think that the best thing to train... What do you think is the best role to train him for? Do you think the attacking midfielder Juan Shishi role, or the deep line playmaker, attacking playmaker, Zayem Santos kind of role? Which one do you think is better? I think probably the Shishi role. But then I'm not sure, really. Honestly, what do you think? Which one's better? Deep line playmaker, advanced playmaker, or central midfielder? Because we need to kind of pick soon so we can kind of mould him. So let me know in the comments what you think about Surgard as well. I know I'm asking a lot of questions, but it's important to have this parlance, I think, between us. So, assist per 90 minutes. Surgard, interesting. That's probably from the one assist he got in the final game of the season, but there you go. Akinola's nicely up there too with 9. That's what I like to see. Average rating, Shishi, Akinola. Zayem, actually, I tell you what. He played 16 games and got an average rating of 7.05. That's the best I've seen someone perform in that role whilst playing in the team. So I think he's a pretty decent signing for us. I want to see how he's done overall, but this is what this is for, isn't it? Chances created. I mean, actually, what I might do is turn off, just filter these properly, but then also just turn off the under-19 squad and the B team, just to get rid of most of the players. Kowalczyk hasn't touched the team this year, and he probably won't. When's his contract up? Next summer. So if we can move him on this summer, I will, but if not, he'll just have to wait his contract out and bugger off in the summer. He wasn't on silly money anyway. Chances created per 90 minutes is kind of what I'm more interested in. Akinola, Surgard, that's not bad. That was, I guess, one chance, though. Shishi, Chowie, when he's played there, of course, at Zaim. More chances created for Zaim than Santos, which is noticeable. And also, Gil Tavares quite low. Distance per 90 minutes. Surgod got about a bit. It's fair to say. Zayim doesn't quite so much. Dribbles per game. Okay. Keradin Chowie nicely up there. Santos is a bit more of a dribbler than the rest of them. Surgod hasn't done a single dribble yet, but again, not really that important for what he's doing right now. Games won ratio. Surgod's won the most. Not really relevant. This is kind of what I'm really not concerned. Like, they play so many games. Shishi's a little on the low side, so is Akinola, but they have played so many matches. Pretty much every game this year. Headers won. Zayim, 83% headers won. That's a nice stat to have, actually. It means he is actually getting about in the midfield and winning some of those headers. Some of the times that we get dominated in the midfield, I think, was because someone like Santos wasn't winning as many headers a lot of the time, and we just lose the ball straight away. Zayim's given us a little bit more in that area, and I think that's quite a key role to play, winning those midfield headers, knocking it down to the likes of Shishi and Akinola. Yeah, interesting. Headers won per 90 minutes. It's the same kind of deal. Santos has won a few, but it's still noticeably less than his compatriots, so to speak. Interceptions per 90 minutes. How does his compare to Santos? Santos makes the most... Well, it's actually tied, so they are dead even on that one. Interesting. Shishi. Okay, so I got a little bit on the low side, but again, key passes. Actually, key passes per 90 minutes is what matters. Akinola, Shishi, Chowie, and Zayim is a little bit on the low side compared to Santos on that one. So a few less key passes, but he's definitely doing something a little bit extra for us in that area. Akinola and Shishi are the players you're really relying on for those key passes, which makes me wonder whether we really want an attacking or an advanced playmaker in that role at all. Because clearly the creativity is not coming from the deep areas. I don't know. Maybe we'll try that another time. Key tackles. Chowie, of course, because he's played in different positions. Passes completed. Tavares, 88, nice. Akinola, Zayim, they're all around. You could throw a blanket over those players. They're all much of a muchness. What I like, though, is we've got a player in Zayim that is competing with Sergio Santos, who's on loan from Bayern, and practically outplaying him in a lot of areas. And that's fine by me, because he's a permanent signing, and Santos is off after this season. Still not sure whether I should try and get him back on loan again, just to, if we can get him back for free on loan, I see no reason why we shouldn't, just because... why not? It's an extra squad player who's very, very good and likes being at the club. So it's not the worst thing. And he's getting football, too, a lot of the time. If he starts to not get football, then I might send him back. But I might still try and get him in alone next year, just for squad depth, because it'd be free. Points per game, Santos, it's only just slightly higher, to be fair to him. Shots on target, Hansen. Akinola, 38%. Very, very good. 20, yeah. Actually, yeah. Zayim, 33% compared to Santos' 19. He's also better at getting those shots on target when he gets into good positions. Don't know how many shots that's out of. Probably find that's literally out of 3 shots he's had 1 on target. I don't know. But he has scored a goal for us. So you never know. Over a full season, that might be a little bit different, but I'm still kind of pleased with it so far. Tackles won ratio. How's he performing there? Only slightly better than Sergio Santos again, but again, it's slightly better. And slightly better for a player we actually own is good to me. Tackles per game. And again... actually, no, considerably better than Sergio Santos this time. He's got like a 33% better tackles won ratio or tackles per game than that too, which is nice. Team conceded per 90 minutes. What am I doing here? So, yes, we concede less goals with him in the team as well, which is nice. Value-wise, obviously, he's going to be totally out of sight. Zayim also has that realist personality, but he's got so many blue stats. I just feel like this guy could still go a long way for us in the league. And you never know, we could make some money on down the line. We only paid like $500,000 for the guy. There's a definite potential for profit. And that's kind of what I'm interested in as well. Keeping the players moving with the wheeling and dealing and stuff like that. As for the stats overall, I think we've got a strong number of players in that midfield that we can sort of rotate. There's Santos, Shishi, Akinola, Zayim, Chowie, potentially Gil Tavares, Surgor. There's enough depth in that midfield for me at the moment, but if I see someone else who's young and has high potential, I think mainly this summer what I'm going to be looking at is young players with high potential rather than the current ability now. I'm going to start looking for the future to start really building the squad for the future because we've got a decent base right now and I want to start slowly. Obviously, if there's someone that's too good to turn down, I won't hesitate to bring them in, but I think maybe just a couple more that we can have maybe playing in the under-19s, going out on loan, getting some extra game time, might be good for us. That's just sort of the way I'm looking at it for this potential summer signings. And finally, we're going to go and do the old, the strikers, the attacker analysis. So we want attackers, boom. So we're really looking, God. We've got to ignore Akinola and Shishi and... a lot of players are going to have to, and Surgord as well. So this could be a little bit dicey. So Svenningsson, Bravo, Iya, Ersan, Yakim. Really, I mean, not even Yakim. He's only started 1 game for us. I just want to see how Svenningsson and Bravo do compare to each other, to be perfectly honest. Team conceded per 90 minutes. We conceded a lot of goals with Ersan in the team, that's for sure, but he's not played enough games for that to be relevant. You can see what I mean about him. Like, good personality, but potential ability, it just isn't there for us at the moment. And I think moving him on in the summer is a very sensible idea, because that 2.8k a week could be better spent on so many players. He had one absolutely insane season for us, and fair play to the guy. Like, he saved us that year, really. I think he's the reason we did so well last season, and that's great. But he needs to move on for the good of his career now, I personally think. So tackles won ratio. How are we doing? Bravo wins a few more than Svenningsson, in fact, considerably more. So he's definitely good at pressing the goalkeeper and pressing the back line. That certainly appears to be the case. Tackles per 90 minutes, I assume it's a sort of similar story. Yeah, not quite so stark in the difference. Shots per 90 minutes. Bravo, well, I mean, look at that. They're pretty much dead even on that. 4.43 and 4.44 for their shots. Less shots from Mark Yakim and Johnny Iya, and even less for Ersan when he has played. But it's nice to see that Yakim and Iya aren't too far off the pace for the number of shots that they're having. Shots on target ratios, however, Svenningsson top, Iya and Yakim in between. Bravo a little bit lower compared to the others. He does need to work on getting those shots on target, but it might be because he sometimes has that shoots with power PPM that could be costing him in places. But it's good to see as well that Yakim and Iya are right in there, right where you want them in that sort of sweet spot. Shots on target per 90 minutes. Bravo moves up the list a little bit ahead of Johnny E at that time, so he's still getting the shots on target, which is good. Points per game. Svenningsson. Wow, I mean, look at that. We've actually won more points per game with Yakim and Iya in the team than with Mariano Bravo. Svenningsson is clearly the main man for us at the moment. Passes completed. I mean, Ersan does win a lot, does make some good passes, and that's one of the things we talked about with him before. He's got that good passing stat that definitely does help, clearly. But you know, Yakim 79, 79, 79, 77. They're all right where you want them to be. I think with these strikers at the moment, we've actually got a good pair of strikers, very, very good, and then a good functional backup in Mark Yakim if we need to bring him in for a game, and then an excellent super sub or different option in Johnny Iya. It would still be nice to have perhaps another couple of young, high potential strikers that could come in and do a job for us a little bit of time. But again, that's something I'm going to be looking for, because Mark Yakim definitely clearly has that sort of potential. He's improving week on week. Got lots of caps for the American under-20s. He's on solid money for us. He's wanted by some teams, probably American sides, though, if I had to guess. No, Crystal Palace are interested in Mark Yakim, so clearly this kid's got some talent. So we need to be careful with this guy. Maybe offer him a new contract in the summer. I don't know. He's on a long-term deal, though. So something I've also started doing with new players and what I'm planning to do, what I've been tempted to do a lot of the time is bringing in these players on big, long-term deals. The problem with that is if it doesn't work out, you're stuck with them for a long time. So what I'm going to start doing with these younger players is offer them initially a 2-year deal. That way it gives us 2 years to assess where they're at. That's fine. If they're great, we can give them a new deal. If they're not, we can just expire. But I'm going to put those, if we can anyway, those optional 3-year extensions. That way, if they are good, we can possibly trigger those extensions and not cost ourselves fortunes in wages. That's what I'm going to try and do with some of our signings this summer when we make them. So, key passes per 90 minutes. Yakim, very, very high on that one. The lad can pass. I don't know what his passing stat is. It's only 5. It's probably the lowest of the lot, which is surprising. I guess maybe it's just a bit elevated due to the number of games he's actually played. But Iya also up there too. His passing is only 8. So, okay. Bravo and Svenningsson with 9 and 10 respectively. So it's not too far off of them, to be fair. Key passes overall, it's not that relevant. Headers 1. Svenningsson 46. That's interesting. Right, that's very interesting. Svenningsson wins 46% of his headers, as does Johnny Iya. Johnny, mate, you've got 12 heading, 15 jumping reach, but more importantly, you're 6'6", lad. And you're not exactly weak either. I would like to see him winning more headers than that, to be honest. Svenningsson is 5'11" and has worse stats in all of those areas, and yet he's winning more of the headers. So maybe something to work on there. Headers 1 per 90. Okay, look at that. Headers 1 per 90 minutes. 7.84 headers 1. So he's just, they're obviously aiming more balls at him, but he is winning so goddamn many of them. That is quite impressive to have so many headers 1 per 90 minutes. So I guess maybe I was being a bit too harsh on him. Maybe it's just because we throw so many headers at him that his stat is going to be a little bit lower. Goals per 90 minutes. We know how well E has done on that one. Nearly a goal per 90 minutes of football played. Yakim's still fairly high on that, but Ersan, look at that. It's so much lower. And I know he's not played as many games, but, you know, he's played more minutes than Mark Yakim. That's undeniable. And Yakim has scored a decent number of goals for us this year. I think he's got 4 or 5. 3 in the league in 10 appearances. It's not too bad. And he also got 1 in the cup and a load in the reserve. So I'm pleased with Yakim so far. I think he's a decent backup. Games 1, Svenningsson, Yakim, Yeah, Bravo. Obviously a little bit low on that one. Fouls against. Who's drawing the most fouls? Bravo. Okay, that makes sense. Dribbles per games, obviously, Svenningsson is going to be vastly high. Now, of course, Zahidi's only played one substitute appearance, so that doesn't really count. But Yakim, decent number. That's actually quite decent for Mark Yakim. Has he got a decent dribbling stat? No, not really. He's performing... I think Yakim is performing above what his stats would suggest he's doing. Like, he completes a lot of passes, considering he's not very good at passing, and he seems to dribble quite a lot for a player that's not that great at dribbling. Hey, if you can rise above your qualities and then fair play to you. Right, cross completion. Actually, still quite important for strikers. 35% for Yakim, Iya 26, 19 for Bravo, and 16 for Svenningsson, despite getting all those assists. So there is that option, but it's nice to see that Yakim knows how to get some crosses in the box too. I don't know what his crossing stats like. What's that like? Is that good as well? Not particularly, of course. Why would it be? Chances created per 90 minutes. Yakim, 2.83. The lad is a creative player. I think it might just be the circumstances is what's done it for him. He's not actually played that many minutes, so maybe we're giving him more credit than he deserves. Bravo creating a decent number of chances, as is Svenningsson. Iya, not the creative man. He is not that guy. He's the guy who you charge headfirst into a wall to break the wall down, and he's done that this year, and I'm happy with that. Average ratings overall, Svenningsson, nicely in there. Yakim with his, Johnny Iya might only have a 6.9, but he's made 25 appearances off the substitutes bench and managed to score like 8 or 9 goals from that period. So that to me, from a substitute, is extraordinarily good and exactly what I would have wanted from him. So I am not complaining at all. Average minutes per goal, yeah, I mean, he's the highest on that one too. He's got 1 assist this year. Who's got the most assists? 20, 13. Yakim actually has 3 assists as well. That's what's impressive about Yakim. If you actually look at the number of games he's played, he's only started 1 game, and yet he has 3 goals and 3 assists in the league. And he's not played for quite some time, really, coming off the bench. I'm a fan of this guy, I think this could have something for us. You never know. And looking at the rest of it, it's fairly straightforward, really. Who do we have around that could maybe challenge some of these roles? Zahidi? Possibly not. Looking at the B team, perhaps. I mean, you're talking... Like, who are we really talking? Dosanjh's been out on loan. Gardner, he's off in the summer. These guys aren't really that relevant. We've got Kim Leith, who's done all right in some of our sort of under-21 our under-19 games, but he's not really got the quality there. Frank Franson, he's only 15 years old. I think he's from this year's youth intake. It's just nothing there. I think once you go beyond our sort of 4 strikers, Ersan, who I want to move on, it does start to get a little bit thin on the ground. So maybe, again, looking for some more high-potential... youngsters is kind of what we need to be doing. I have been scouting some of the youth intakes this year. They have been doing it slowly, so I have built up some knowledge. That's how we got that Miguel guy from Belenenses. But we need a few more players like that, and hopefully we can find some over the course of the summer, bring some of them in, because I think we'll be able to get them cheaper that way as well. So I don't expect there to be any big marquee signings this summer. Most of them are going to be squad players or young players with high potential to really give us that depth and stuff for the future when we bring them through. Because that's what we're kind of be doing. The youth conveyor belt is well underway, and I want to make sure that we make the most of it while we still can. And then we can start loaning some of these players to other Danish sides so they can improve themselves in Europe to get with the whole building a nation approach to things. So that's probably going to do it for now. Next episode, well, you know what to expect. It's going to be a hell of a summer, but we've got ourselves Champions League football. Next year is going to be a damn fun season, that's for sure. If nothing else, we're going to have fun playing in the Champions League. And it's the 10th season of the save. The anniversary since we started this one. It's been, like 5 months of doing this, so that's interesting for sure. Anyway, if you have enjoyed this episode, do drop a like on the video to let me know that you want me to keep doing those videos. And the word of the day, because apparently I have a bottle of tennis balls sitting on my desk for some reason, the word of the day is going to be Slazenger. Because, of course it is. That's the tennis ball and hockey company people. Anyway, if you're new to the channel and this is the first video of mine you've watched for some reason, do hit that subscribe button for more videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, and sometimes on random days when there's videos like this abound. And I will join you guys in the next episode for summer transfer window, Champions League goodies, all sorts of good stuff. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.